Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a story that has haunted investigators, conspiracy theorists, and true crime enthusiasts for decades. Imagine this. 9 experienced hikers full of life venture into the frozen, unforgiving mountains of Russia. They are skilled, well-prepared, and led by a man known for his expertise. Yet none of them return the same. Their tent, torn open from the inside, bodies scattered barefoot in deep snow, skulls crushed, eyes missing. What happened on that mountain in 1959 remains one of the most chilling, unexplainable mysteries in history. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a real-life horror story that defies all logic. Get ready, because the truth, or lack thereof, might just send shivers down your spine. In February of 1959, a group of 9 highly skilled, enthusiastic hikers, all students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, embarked on what they thought would be a challenging but rewarding winter expedition. Their destination, the remote and icy Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, was renowned for his discipline, meticulous planning, and extensive experience in mountaineering. The mission, seemingly straightforward, was to reach Mount Otorten, a peak with a rather ominous name in the local Mansi language, "Do not go there," a warning that, tragically, they would never heed. The group began their journey on January 27th. Fully equipped with skis, plenty of food, cameras to document their adventure, and diaries to record their thoughts and experiences. But just a few days in, fate intervened in a strange way. One of the hikers, a young man named Yuri Yudin, fell ill with sciatica and was forced to turn back early. He left the group, unaware that this unfortunate turn of events had just saved his life in the most dramatic way imaginable. He would later reflect, haunted by the memory, "If I had not left that day, I would have been with them." A chilling thought that would stay with him for the rest of his days. The remaining 9 hikers, in good spirits and robust health, continued their ascent towards the mountain. By February 1st, they had reached a steep slope situated near Kolatsiakl, a place also grimly known as the Mountain of the Dead. As evening approached, a fierce snowstorm descended upon them, forcing a crucial and ultimately fatal decision. Instead of descending to the safety of the tree line below, where they could have found shelter, Dyatlov chose to set up camp on an open slope. This fateful decision meant they were exposed to the full fury of the elements, a choice that sealed their destiny. That night, under the swirling snow and howling wind, was their final night alive. When the group failed to send a telegram home by the expected date, a search team was immediately dispatched. The anxiety was palpable, growing with each passing day. On February 26th, 2 long weeks after their last known camp, rescuers made a horrifying discovery. There, half buried in the snow, stood their tent. But it wasn't just a tent. It was a scene of utter chaos and terror. The tent was cut open from the inside, as if someone had frantically sliced their way out in a desperate, panic-stricken escape. Inside, everything remained untouched. Boots, jackets, food, and even their cameras, all left behind. It was as if they had fled in an instant, without a moment to gather their belongings. Following the faint impressions in the snow, rescuers found a trail of footprints leading away from the tent. Strangely, some barefoot, others in socks, trudging through the freezing snow. About a kilometer away, at the edge of the forest, the first 2 bodies were discovered near a small extinguished fire under a large cedar tree. Both were barefoot and, incredibly, dressed only in their underwear. Above them, branches on the cedar tree were broken, suggesting someone had climbed high in a frantic attempt to escape something, or perhaps to spot a way out of their nightmare. 3 more bodies were later found, scattered between the cedar tree and the tent. They bore no visible external wounds, no signs of a struggle, but their faces were contorted in expressions of pure, unadulterated terror, frozen forever in death. It took another 2 months for the remaining 4 bodies to be found, buried deep under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. The discoveries became even more disturbing. One hiker had a severely crushed skull. Another had ribs broken with such force that it resembled injuries from a high-speed car crash, yet bewilderingly, there were no bruises on their skin. The most unsettling find was of a young woman whose eyes and tongue were missing. The investigators were utterly bewildered. There were no footprints of any strangers, no signs of animal attack, no evidence of a struggle. It was as if something invisible, something terrifying beyond comprehension, had driven these 9 strong, experienced hikers to abandon their shelter and run barefoot into the freezing, deadly darkness. The official report, when it was finally released, stated the cause of death as a compelling natural force, a phrase that offered no answers and only deepened the mystery. Numerous theories, each more bizarre than the last, began to emerge. Some believed it was an avalanche, but there was no real evidence to support it. The tent, despite its internal damage, still stood, and no significant snowslide was ever found. Others speculated that the group had stumbled into a secret Soviet weapon test. Adding fuel to this theory, traces of radiation were later found on some of their clothes, and locals in the area reported seeing strange orange lights in the sky that very night. Another intriguing theory suggested that infrasound was the culprit. Proponents of this idea argued that powerful winds sweeping over the mountain could have created low-frequency sound waves, inaudible to the human ear, but capable of inducing extreme panic, nausea, and terrifying hallucinations. But even this couldn't fully explain the horrific internal injuries and broken bones. For many, the most chilling theory remains that something not human, something otherworldly, was responsible for their deaths. A final photograph from one of their cameras, developed weeks later, allegedly showed a strange, unidentifiable light in the sky. The official investigation was abruptly closed that same year. The files were controversially marked top secret, leaving the families of the victims heartbroken and without any real answers. The final statement simply reiterated that the hikers died due to an unknown, compelling force. The only survivor, Yuri Yudin, lived the rest of his life haunted by the incident. He often pondered, maybe if I was there, it could have ended differently, or maybe I would be among them. The weight of that what-if never truly left him. Decades later, in 2019, Russia surprisingly reopened the case, concluding that a small avalanche was the most likely cause. However, even today, this explanation fails to satisfy many. It doesn't account for the missing eyes, the missing tongue, the inexplicable panic, the radiation, or the sheer terror etched onto their faces. The Dyatlov Pass Incident remains a profound and chilling mystery that continues to haunt everyone who hears its story. The mountain is now officially named Dyatlov Pass, a somber memorial to Igor Dyatlov and his ill-fated group. 9 friends, full of laughter and life, went into those mountains, and something, whether natural or supernatural, forced them to run half-dressed into a deadly storm. No one truly knows what they saw. No one knows what they heard. All we know is that something in those mountains ensured that none of them came back the same. Some mysteries, it seems, simply do not want to be solved. This was the Dyatlov Pass Incident, where the truth froze along with the dead. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most baffling cold cases. If you found this story as captivating and chilling as I did, please hit that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more true crime and unexplained mysteries. Your support means the world. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning everything.